And to everyone out there listening, welcome to another episode of the Professional Heels Podcast. You have me, Brennan Cabino, also known as the Black John Cena. You have my man, Gavin Gabriel, also known by me as the Sexy Goldberg. And today we have a very special guest. Please welcome Mike Wexler. Thank you for coming on the show, Mike. How are you
Hey,
today?
thank you so much for having me, guys.
Anytime.
Glad to have you, dude. Welcome. First take. No mess ups. We're off and running. Mike, we're glad to have you. We've been pretty AFK from the podcast life here for a minute. We've just been, going through adulthood left and right. Brendan's busy, then I'm busy. Hard to schedule lineups. I know you do a lot of podcasting yourself. A lot of people who look at it as like a hobby or like something easy to get into. Like what's something piece of advice that you would give people who are looking to get into the game?
Just do it. That's seriously how it is. It's just, I mean, if you're passionate about something, especially podcasting, and you want to talk about something that you're passionate about, whether it's wrestling, whether it's sports, if it's like even talking about why MJF is your favorite wrestler of all time. Whatever the case may be, just like do it, because like it's cool. My podcast, which is the Your Story podcast, not a plug. It's it's just something that I'm passionate about, hearing people's stories, hearing people's journeys and stuff. So just do it. Not sponsored by Nike.
You think it's a case of sponsored by Nike? You think it's just people overcomplicating it?
No, I always say people have different situations, different things going on in life, and I totally understand that. Just if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. And just like I said, if it's something that you want to get into, just get into it.
Hell yeah. Well, we're working on getting back into it.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. No, that is good advice. Appreciate that. I mean, I'm always a big fan of someone who just tells people to just get on and do it. I always feel that a lot of people, when they do something like I bodybuild for a living, and some people when they're first starting, they're always asking 100,000 questions. Like what do I do over here and this and that and this and that. What if I do this wrong? And I'm like, listen, if you don't go out and do it, you will never know. Obviously, it's interesting. Sorry, it's interesting. Not interesting. What's the word? It's when you walk into something new, you obviously want to be perfect at it. You don't want to be someone who's just like waltzing in, not caring. You want to have some sort of an idea of what you're doing. But I always tell people, if you overthink, it's not going to help you at all. If you panic and you do this, you do that, you're just going to be screwing yourself up even more. So go out and do it. And make the mistakes, because obviously, especially if you're doing a podcast, your first episode is going to be nowhere near as good as your 50th episode. Do you understand? And you learn as you go along. It's like essentially like driving the car. Once you pass your driving test, that's when you start to actually learn how to drive, because you have all these things that you know about real life situations and blah blah blah. I'm going on and on. I can go on and on about it for ages, but you get my point. You get my point.
I like the metaphor though, because you drive on the wrong side of the road. Back me up on that, Mike.
No, I think it's only us and Sweden and one other country that drive on the left. I think Australia, actually.
Australia, yeah.
Yeah, I think Australia.
It's like I remember an episode of Rocket Power where they talk about that.
Yeah.
Mike, I've been following you on Instagram for a minute here. It's hard to miss your contagious smile on my feed. You've been doing a lot of, interviewing, broadcasting, podcasting stuff, and you're part of the Instagram wrestling community, as they call it. What got you into pro wrestling? Like, what is your earliest memory on the industry?
Oh man, so I grew up as a wrestling fan from my family, because they were huge fans. And fun fact, I was born the same night that Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble. Is that a great feat? No, but it's still, still great. One of the greatest I Quit matches of all time with The Rock and Mankind. But I mean, it was just influential. It was everywhere. And my mom grew up watching it. My grandfather grew up watching it because it was over in my area back in the day. So it was just all around. And my earliest memory happened to be the day that got me hooked. It was No Way Out 2004 in the most underdog story ever. Eddie Guerrero wins the WWE Undisputed title from Brock. And at the time, Brock was like unstoppable. Like no one could beat him except for like Kurt Angle 2 times. And it was like so, and it was so
Gold
like
freaking
it was
medalist.
cool. So
Yeah. That's good.
That's crazy. Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's always nice, when someone who gets into pro wrestling always has that specific moment in their head where they can pinpoint exactly what they were doing, how they were feeling, and why it got them hooked. Unfortunately, I'm not that person. I just remember watching pro wrestling and understanding essentially what was going on. I was born in 1997, so my first memory of wrestling, I never forget this. It was, for some reason, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock backstage talking absolute crap to each other. I don't know what they were saying, and I remember that they just started fighting, and I was like, "That's so cool!" I was so hooked because I had two other brothers who were huge wrestling fans. My middle brother he just turned 30, and my eldest brother is 33, and they loved wrestling. I mean, I'm the one who likes it now. They don't like it, obviously, because they're old school fans, whatever. Of course, that happens. But they loved it. That was their everything. And I just, for some reason, remember that image of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock talking crap to each other. I don't know if there was any chair shots involved, but I remember it was backstage, and I was just thinking, as a 4-year-old, wow, that's why. So that's my reason. Gabriel, what's your reason?
I was gonna say it's crazy how it's like, I think as wrestling fans, everyone can agree as to like these monumental moments or these great matches, but
Yeah.
like it can be the most, like, not that saying that The Rock and Stone Cold backstage isn't awesome, but it can just be like the most precise thing and just the way it makes you feel in that exact moment.
Exactly, yeah.
I think my earliest memory, I remember, I'm a little bit older than you guys, so don't judge me here, but I remember watching Bret Hart and Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental Championship, I believe. That's the earliest memory, and I remember, so Bret Hart was the first like wrestler that I was like, that guy's so cool, he's wearing pink, he's got the sunglasses, he's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, he's like proclaiming that. And then, so my earliest memory as like a completely understanding fan was when Owen beat him, I believe in the steel cage match. He reversed the sharpshooter or something. And I just remember that was the first time I felt rage. I was like, screw this guy. That's his brother? How could you do that?
Yeah.
And I was so upset, but that's what got me hooked. And weirdly enough, like, it was a thing me and my grandfather watched together, and when he passed away, I like clean break stopped watching pro wrestling. And so it was weird that, Mike, you said No Way Out 04 was one of your earliest memories. That was actually the same pay-per-view that got me back into wrestling. Like, I remember just randomly I was at a party and someone bought the pay-per-view, and I was like, I used to watch this stuff. Eddie Guerrero's still around? Who's that guy? He's huge. And like, that won me back over, and that's what got me back into it. So it's pretty awesome that it's a similar moment for us.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. So I was like, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, Bret Hart. He's before. I trying to. It's always weird trying to, like, the generations are so like defined now as far as like those top guys, and it's funny how like at the time Brendan mentioned The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, where like if you look at the roster top to bottom, overall everyone was like higher. Like you talk to like average wrestling fans, then they could name you off like 10 to 15 people who were just like getting TV time weekly. But like even still at that time, The Rock and Austin were just so far above everyone else. And now you have it where it's a little bit more like a full, like, you have top guys and you have guys who are like, you got to be a diehard fan to know who that guy is.
That is actually very true, you know. That is a very true comment. That's very true.
Yeah, like,
I don't know why
it's a little more diluted.
No, I could probably point out like a name, and you guys are like, "Damn, you're that much of a diehard." Like Simon Dean. Like, see, you don't know who that is.
Was he the protein shake guy?
Yeah,
he wore the purple jumpsuit.
He was Nova back in ECW, and when he went to WWE, he had the Simon Dean gimmick, which was like a aerobics guy trying to, he fed Batista this horrible.
It was on the Segway.
Yeah.
Why do I remember him? That's crazy. Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh, maybe I'm the fraud.
It was really. It's weird because I just saw. I feel like once I get on my real feed and I'm just scrolling through wrestling clips, kind of thing. I saw one. It was a fucking Kevin Thorne, but
Yeah.
Mordecai, and I was like, I remember at the time I was like, that's like the anti-Undertaker. That's such a cool thing, and like it was like a month-long gimmick, and then they scrapped it, and I was like,
Yeah.
But it's weird how like these little things just stick with you.
Yeah, and then when you spoke about Mordecai, I was like 4, because that was like Judgment Day, like 2003, 4, and I remember how much of an intimidating presence this guy was, and then all of a sudden I heard he was supposed to be like getting rid of Undertaker, and he was supposed to retire him, and then he turned out to be a vampire. I'm like, great.
They just went a little too far.
Yeah. Oh god.
I feel like they've done that several times though, because it was very similar with like Heidenreich and like Vladimir Kozlov. Like there was supposed to be these like random out of nowhere guys that like people were like, this is going to be the person that kills Undertaker.
Yeah, literally.
And then they never worked out.
Yeah, the thing is weird because it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
No, go ahead. Okay, go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
No, please. I forgot. I actually forgot I was gonna say. I swear.
Oh no, you're good. Okay, so no, I was gonna say there. That actually sparked a memory of mine. So in 08, I think it was 08 or 09. This was when like Raw and SmackDown were like so PG, it was like bad. So there was this one promo by this one wrestler that was supposed to quote bury the Undertaker. It was like static on the TV, and it was this random. I keep forgetting his name, but he came from FCW, and so he was supposed to feud with Undertaker while he was taking a break from the Edge feud, I think. And oh god, I wish I remember his name, but I just remember like so many people try to step up to the Undertaker and failed. Muhammad Hassan is one of them.
Yeah. And there's fuck. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think. Was he tall? Was the guy tall?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think he was short.
Was he tallish?
I feel like I have the name right there, and then I just keep making these like.
No, because this is going to annoy me because I feel like I know exactly who you're talking about, but there's no name going to come up whatsoever.
God. Here, I'm going to send it through DM, and
especially
then maybe hold on. It's damn. What was the promo? It was like Undertaker, Static. Oh my god. TV Static. I'm just gonna put that into that.
That's gonna annoy me. That's going to annoy me.
But anyways, I'm getting off topic here.
And I know like the exact gap. Oh, this is very much on topic because now it's one of those things too that like I will think of the name randomly in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah. Oh, man.
That's
dude.
No, that's
and I know like the gap because literally I said Heidenreich and Kozlov, and I know it was right, but it was in between those. If I'm correct.
Yeah, no. When it comes to these type of guys, that's like my forte.
Yeah.
Those random guys that were like set to be big and then turn out to be like a comedy act kind of thing.
Basham Brothers.
Like
Doug and Danny, baby.
The Basham Brothers. Yeah. I only remember that name because when I started shaving my head, one of my diehard friends started calling me a Basham brother, and I was like, "Piss off, dude. Take a walk."
And what broke my heart is that they were never related.
I was like, "Call me the Big Show, dude."
Yeah. Or Goldberg. But why that?
Why do I have to be a Basham brother?
Or a Jim?
And now, like, he'll still do it, but like, wow. Okay, you're pulling deep. Okay, so you know some names, dude.
Yeah, like if you give me a timeline, I will give you some names that you guys probably either A, don't remember, or B, never heard of. Like the Jim Knight twins, for example, were supposed to be like two Goldbergs into one.
Like that.
What's up?
Okay, yeah. Okay, give me like a Mount Rushmore of guys we may have never heard of.
All right, so where do I start? Okay. Guys that you never. That was like strictly WWE.
Yes.
I was like, it can be close to WWE. I mean, you could
close,
probably drop a current
All right.
AEW guys and confuse me.
So I'm gonna count this as one. The Truth Commission. They were from 1995, I think, or 98. They were the first ever trio before trios wrestling ever came to be. Number 2 would be
Okay.
Oh my God, Simon Dean. I love the guy to death. Shout out to Nova. I don't know if you count him, Kid Cash.
Wow. I'm still kind of stuck on the Truth. The Truth Commission was it had Buchanan.
Yeah, Bull Buchanan.
Is that a name of one of them? Okay. I remember him. I don't like. Holy shit, you're pulling deep. Okay, what'd you say, Kid Cash?
Kid Cash, yeah. But in the Truth Commission, what's his name is in there? Kenny Omega's manager. What's his name? Oh my God.
Don Callis?
Yes.
Or
he was in there.
Wow, that's. I was like, I remember the other one. Like, I remember growing up. I was like, dude, Scott Steiner's the shit. Buff Bagwell's the shit. Like, so those body guys, I'm like, oh hell yeah. Chris Masters, I was like, that's a dope ass guy.
Yeah.
Doing the peck dance. I was like, oh, that's a dope ass guy.
All the big men pumping me. That's all I cared about when I was growing up. I was like, yes. That's why I lift weights, guys. Do you understand? Because I want to be them. That was my inspiration.
Kid Cash was a good one too.
Kid Cash.
All right, that's 3 then. If you, okay, give me one more.
One more? Oh shoot. Okay, there's a lot of them. You know what? I'll go current because he doesn't get enough love. He's a cruiserweight champion in his own right. He trained Daniel Bryan during the pandemic. Give me Drew Gulak.
Okay.
Shout out.
A lot of people forget that he's one of the few that have kind of been. Yeah, I mean, if you're into NXT, a lot of people I think are familiar with them, but I don't think a lot of people understand that he was a part of that core like cruiserweight tournament group that like has pretty much all fallen off. Aside from what Tozawa and I guess if you count Brian Kendrick as a producer kind of thing.
Do you know what? I just want to say I actually. Oh, what Cedric?
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's my bad.
But no, I was gonna say that with Drew Gulak, that is a name that I actually that is somebody that I really like, and the reason why I like him is simply because he acknowledged me. That is the only reason why he acknowledged me when he acknowledged me. He acknowledged me, and he posted me on his story. I forgot the reason for it, but I just remember that he posted me on his story, and I was like, "See, Drew Gulak, thank you, bro. I acknowledge you, bro. Thank you. I've completely forgotten what it was for. I acknowledge you.
I was like, he stays on my head because he was
Yeah, always.
There was the WWE 2K game where the tutorial is him teaching you the stuff.
Yeah. 2020.
So that was
that was last year, no? That was last year,
2022, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, which was like a cool little nod to him. Granted, those games are like so like one and done, like you have them for a year and then everyone moves on, kind of thing. But like that was a nice little homage to him because he is pretty notorious for getting these returners back into shape and helping out and
No, he's solid.
That was pretty that was pre-COVID, I guess. With like they did like all these different tournaments with like guys that like were big on the indies but were never seen in WWE, and now like a couple of them from there, like Rhea Ripley, and like a couple of them are big on the main roster now. But that was such a weird time.
Yeah, that's very weird time. It makes
me think where the time went.
Time has flown. Flown? Yeah, I can't speak English. Goodness me.
You know, it's funny.
It's gone by very quickly.
It's a little bit of a.
I was 21 when the pandemic had happened. I'm currently 24.
Mate, I'm with you. I was 20. I was 22, fresh, pretty chill. Came out 25. I was like, really, mate? I swear. And I could have sworn as well. I could have sworn my hairline was over here as well. And now it's over here, so I'm onto my bloody hairline.
Hair.
Seeing Gabriel,
Must be
seeing Gabriel,
nice.
man. Yeah.
Must be nice.
Gabriel, soon, bro. I'm gonna do a solidarity with you. Come on, bro.
I told so Brendan's going to All In tomorrow, and I was telling him he's gonna pull up, and people are gonna think he's Powerhouse Hobbs.
It's just like, I'm gonna be like, hey, man.
What? Granted, I'd take that over, Basham Brother, but
Hey,
that's
the
a compliment at least.
Fashion Brothers were former tag champs, even though when they split up, it went like downhill. So,
Do you know what? Yeah, fair.
Oh, very quick.
You're former champion, so take it. Take it.
That was like there was so many random tag teams in that time, between like Hawkins and Ryder and like Deuce and Domino and like all that weird stuff. God damn.
There were loads of random ones, and we can't remember.
There's just like this big gap of like that was like right when you were kind of mentioning like where it was too PG to like function kind of thing.
yeah,
Like that was like right before that, right going into that, where it's like it was hard to stay engaged because like outside of your Batista, Undertaker, Edge, Cena, and like DX, like it was so hard to like care.
Yeah.
A weird time. Weird how
Wrestling-
long ago that's been. Now.
Wrestling is weird in hindsight when you think about it. With all this shit that happens, you're like, that was strange, and we popped for that. But
Well,
whatever.
when you think about getting it, like, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week with pay-per-views, like with the recent news of Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt, and you've started seeing people post like their favorite moments, and like
yeah,
Bray Wyatt had been on the main roster for about 10, 11 years. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy to think about. Like when you
Yeah.
try to piece it together, you're like, he's been there for like 5 years, maybe.
yeah,
It was double that. It's been 10 years.
It was 10 years.
That's
And
crazy.
he was there often as well. It wasn't just like a thing where he was in and out. Obviously, he was in and out towards the end, but towards the past few years, I would say. But it's a thing where time in wrestling really flies by. I don't think people understand how quickly things go by. Like the Super Cena ended in 2014 when Brock Lesnar beat him. That is literally 9 years ago. It's supposed to be 10 years next year, and it's something
Yeah.
that you can remember it happening like last night. Do you understand? But these things, it always passes by in wrestling because it's a weekly show. We don't really appreciate at the time that we're taking for granted. Like we obviously love the show and we appreciate it, but like I always see in the internet community, you always see like, that match didn't happen, this match didn't happen, or this is the wrong booking, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
sometimes we spend time just like critiquing the show. Obviously, we're still enjoying it, but finding little ways to like nitpick at the show of the things that we
Dwelling
don't
on
like.
what could have been.
Yeah, or what could have been exactly, and then you go 10 years into the future, then you're like, oh crap, that was a good time. That was a good time.
Yeah.
I remember like one good example was Damien Sandow. I was at the time because I used to really like him, but I hated it when he was doing the whole Miz impressionist thing. That really annoyed me. No, but at that time I was like, no, it's not funny. I was literally like, a 14-year-old kid, like, no, it's not funny. No, stop it.
He's doing the stunt double stuff.
Yeah, and everything. But I look at that today. I'm like, that was jokes. What was I thinking? That was great. That was great.
No one's ever done anything like that.
No, never. But I was hating on it so hard. I was hating. Like I was a pure-blooded hater towards that segment or towards that situation. I just hated it. But it's always good. Like wrestling flies by, man. Time flies, man. So we have to enjoy every moment that we get.
I think it's us as fans just wanting to be a part of the kayfabe of like, I shouldn't like this. I do, but I don't want to admit it, kind of thing. And it's weird touching on like the current deaths, and Bob Barker just passed away as well today, and he was a one-time guest host. And it's weird how like it takes this to bring the community together. Like it's the one thing that brings down the war lines of like AEW's better, WWE's better, I only like indie show. Like it's the one thing that like unites us, and it sucks, but like it is a nice short period of like peacefulness in the wrestling community which is so quick to become hostile. Um, it's just crazy.
Oh yeah.
You know, touching on kind of other territories, Mike. I know you're in SoCal. Probably one of the more popular spots for. Sounds about right. He's got to take a cry break. One of the more popular spots for indie wrestling, at least here in America, in my opinion. What are some big names that are growing some buzz down there that you wouldn't be surprised by if they started to become huge in the
Man,
coming years?
how much time have you got? It's no, all jokes aside, there's so many from the Southern California, West Coast area that are incredibly talented. They're you know what I mean? Like if they go anywhere, what was that? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I'm so irritated. I got distracted and the thing just ended. Oh, oh my god, I'm so annoyed.
I was gonna
Guys,
list my favorite
talk on.
wrestlers.
You can
and this
edit
man
that
leave.
out or whatever. Oh my god.
He's oh, we're leaving it in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He,
no, leave
he's
it.
telling us about up and coming wrestlers where he's in one of the bigger parts for the indie scene here in the U.S. So Mike was just telling us about a couple up and comers that we should be on the lookout for here in the next few years.
And I didn't even list it. This
Now,
man's like, oh.
tell me. He's about to, I just left the finish. He's like, I had enough. I'm off.
I'm like, okay, first wrestler.
Go on, name him.
Brendan.
I want to hear.
Brendan's a wrestler.
I was like, I'm gonna edit it into this guy right here. Oh my God, Powerhouse Hobbs.
Okay, so
Oh shit. Go on.
no, so some names I want to put on there. Again, I wish I had all the time in the world, but I know we're limited on time. So just some names that come off the head. Jordan Cruz. He's from Lafayette, Louisiana. He's been also in Arizona. I don't know if you've seen him over at PCW in Arizona and some of the things over there, but he travels countrywide. I think that
Yeah.
he is the best of the West Coast right now, and he's been putting in the work everywhere that he's been. Oh my God, there's a lot of them. Sandra Moon, she's been on Impact, AEW. She's one of the best out there as well. Johnny Robbie, same thing goes with Arizona. I don't know if you've heard of her down there. But she comes to the Southern California area. She's been killing it all over from there, Vegas, and so on and so forth. She's actually been killing it over at New Japan recently because she just came out of the dojo over there. Jordan Clearwater. Oh my God, there's like a lot I could name. Like the list could go on and on, but those are just some of the names that come on the top of my head. Honest John came from or made his appearances on Arizona as well over there. I've known him for about 5 years. Damn, but yeah, if we had a whole like hour long of me just listing people, I would.
It's like
But
I've got a list. I've got to scroll.
But I would like to kind of keep it to you guys and be like, you know what, you go check them out. Go search up
Highlight
my
that,
stories and see who I can highlight today.
There you go.
You see, yeah, I'm gonna look up the stories because you said like 6 names and I've forgotten already. I've forgotten
Wow.
already, and it's like I'm so bad. No, it sounds so disrespectful. Just really bad at names. But you said Sandra Moons. The one that stuck in my head was Sandra Moons. Like, I'm gonna I'm gonna look her up, and I'm gonna DM you as well to send me that list. And I'm also gonna watch the stories because I'm super. I don't know. Maybe I'm a fraud of a fan. I think I'm a bit of a fraud because, quite frankly, I'm just getting worse and worse. I don't know what's
Damn
happening.
it, Brendan. You're overseas and you haven't heard of these people? You haven't heard of these up and coming?
Who?
Sandra Moon,
No.
I think, is the one of that list that I am familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a phenomenal
He does
athlete.
mention
She has put in the work and more with every promotion in countrywide, and yeah, man, I'm hoping she gets signed soon because she's legend.
Deserves it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the coolest moment you'd say you've had, or a couple coolest moments you've had at indie shows? Because I know you've done some like announcing, and they usually get you a little involved, and they
How much do you
oh,
want
another
me
one.
to No, no, I think I think the one moment that stands out the most from being involved in the indie scene is that um, I think it's just connecting with people, and I feel like that with wrestlers and commentators and all that. It's just connecting with people. The company that I work for, that I commentate for, it's called Millennium Pro Wrestling. It is, to my knowledge, I don't know if it's the only one in the country, but it's the only one from what I know that is putting on shows consistently every Friday. So the MPW and everybody over there has been nothing but family. They've been great to me, and just getting to hear these people's stories, and if they're nobodies, if they're somebodies, just getting to tell their story is phenomenal. So that's my highlight, just to put it in short.
There you go. So more of like
Oh,
an
yeah.
overall, just the experience, and yeah, that's awesome,
Yeah.
dude.
That's good.
That's dope. So I mean,
Real good.
so I was telling you before we started recording, I did a couple years of training.
Mhm.
So it was a lot of the shows that we did do. We weren't like on the cards, but we would play the extras and security and all that stuff. So coolest moment for me. We're doing this house show here in Tucson, and it was a fatal four way, and the wrestler, I'll let the suspense build. He's doing a over the top rope suicide dive kind of thing, and the guy who's supposed to eat it pulls me as a security guard in the way, and I take the bump. There's a wrestler named Christian Casanova who now goes by Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yes, sir.
which was and like it was crazy because he was in the ring with a guy from like our territory who was like one of the best out here, and then Eli Everfly, who was getting really big there in California for a while, Jordan Oliver, who now is like huge, and then him. And like at the time, I was like, this is our best guy, and not to take anything away from him, but more so Oliver, Eli doing a lot of high flying stuff, but Oliver and Carmelo were just so next level that like at the time, like in person experience, like it was the like one of the like eye opening, like holy crap, there's a whole nother tier to this. And then same thing, like coolest dude. Like after the show came up, he's like, "Hey, dude, good job on that bump. Like nice meeting you, yada yada." And I was like, "Damn." And then now look at him, one of the hottest things in pro wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
He
I
doesn't
didn't know
miss.
myself. He doesn't miss.
Top
Yeah, he
talent,
doesn't
he's
miss.
known as top talent.
So, that's good.
He doesn't
man.
miss.
Yo. Oh, yeah.
Such a charismatic figure. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's weird with the indie shows how like me is like when I go to take someone to like an indie show or like their first indie show, like I try to it's almost like I try to defend wrestling going into it. I'm like, hey, because the crowd is so much of it, and I'm like, there's going to be 20-30 people here max, so it's not going to feel as electric. Just take it for what it's worth kind of thing. And like we'll leave the show and they'll be like, that was so fucking awesome, that was so cool. And like in my head I'm like, I respect it because I've been through it and I understand it, but like as someone trying to introduce someone to it, I'm like, okay, this isn't on the same like stage as like a WrestleMania, but like just take it for what it's worth. And they always love it more than like I expect them to, which is so cool about pro wrestling.
That is true. That is true. I have I've literally had friends absolutely shit on pro wrestling in every aspect. Who's fake? Who's this? Who's that? No, he's not real. No, he's not. He's not a dead man. What are you talking about? And then I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, cool. Whatever. All right, whatever, mate. And then they come and watch it, and they're like, yo, bro, that was so sick. I hear it. Yeah, that must hurt, innit? I'm like, yes, of course it hurts. What do you think? Of course it does.
It's like Cirque du Soleil, but for men.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
the way someone described it to me a long time ago, and I was like,
That's
if you
good,
take it as a
man.
performance,
Yeah.
it's hard to argue that it's not awesome. I mean, even
No,
the biggest non-fan goes into a show like that, and
Yeah.
it's just dope. I remember I took
Honestly,
one of my friends. Their first show was the Royal Rumble here in Glendale a couple years ago. I don't really remember it. All I remember on the card is that it was Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, and
Oh.
Eric Rowan came back
Oh,
or something.
2019. 2019.
Yeah, Oh shit, you're okay. You're with it too. You guys are
Yeah.
encyclopedias over here.
Yeah.
I'm not good with
I-
timelines. I remember we had bad seats, and then one of my buddies recognized this dude from IGN at like the concession stand, and the guy's like, "I've got a couple floor seats." So there was a Ronda Rousey match going on or something, and like during that whole thing, we're like going down to the floor seats, and we still have the chairs, the memorabilia chairs from it, but like it was one of my friend's first shows, and like he was like, "Whoa, that like now he like." Asked me when the Royal Rumble is every year. He's like, "Cause that's my favorite match. Like, I have like a bond to that now." So it's like, he's like, "When's that one?" I like the idea of not knowing who's next, and 25 of the 30 guys come out, and I don't know who they are. But like, feeling the electricity of those, which is dope as fuck. That's hands down. I agree with them. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's my favorite time of the year."
Yeah. Oh yeah. So.
Now, Mike, I know we won't hold you up too much longer. I know we started a little late, but
Good.
I know you've been hitting the gym a little bit. I see you on your story there. You've been getting and actually it's been showing. I can tell you've been getting in some pretty decent shape. What's some of your workouts looking at like right now?
You know what? It's funny because I don't know how to put this into words. So basically, when I before the pandemic, obviously I was like smaller. I was trying to like be skinny because that was my hope. And then ever since and the pandemic or whatever, it's been hard because for me, I go to the gym 3 times a week. I try to go at least 2 hours each day. And it's hard for me because I'm trying to be more consistent, but it's like due to scheduling and all that with work and family and stuff, it's kind of hard to do that. So I made a commitment to myself. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym more. I'm gonna make sure I'm putting in the work. And I like to go at my own pace. I'm not a huge fan of like, you gotta give it 110%, brother. That's my horrible Vince McMahon impression. You gotta put in 110%, brother. No, that's Hogan. Never mind. Anyway, so no, like
That's Eric Cartman playing.
no,
Vince
so
McMahon.
no, yeah. So I try to put in that. I try to eat as clean as I can, like at least a salad a day or something like that. And if I can't, I always believed in the '90s fairy tale of eating Subway makes you skinnier. So I'm like, cool. So,
Of course.
yeah, man. So I just try to do that, and I changed my mindset from like just doing it just for me to doing it for my family because my family's getting older. So I want to be in shape to make sure that I'm there for them.
That's beautiful.
So that's kind of the motivation
That's beautiful.
for me.
That's very good.
I love that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's good, man.
There you go, dude. Well, whatever you're
Good
doing,
to
it's
you.
working, and you got a genius of a friend here. If you ever need some tips and tricks,
Honestly, always send me a
Powerhouse.
message. Always.
powerhouse odds. You're trying to become a body guy. You need to talk to this guy.
Honestly, yeah. I've been bodybuilding for like almost 7 years now. I love it. I'm always a big fan of people's stories. Everyone has a different what's the saying? They have a different. Everyone has different motivations.
Motivation.
For going to the gym. Yours is actually beautiful. It's a very nice. It's actually the first time I've heard of a wholesome reason to go to the gym. So good on you for that. Because my reason for going to the gym was I watched big sweaty men pumping meat, and I wanted to be a big sweaty man pumping meat, and that's exactly my reason. And for me, any single time I ever want to, like, I don't know, I mean, I'm having cake right now, but anytime I'm ever, like, going on a slippery slope or whatever, do you know who comes up in my head? Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner calling me fat. It comes up in my head every single day. I'm like, oh my god, Scott, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Scott. I want to eat the donut again. I'm sorry.
Paula, if you hear me.
And
Well, Mike has got a 33.333% chance of making it out of this interview, ever wanting to come back, but
no, but that's good. Mike, I'm very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. That's good. I'm going to message you as well. Probably going to bombard you messages about
be
asking every question possible, and it might annoy you, but just know it's for a good reason. So I'm gonna ask you.
before we wrap it up, Mike, just want to give you a moment here. Go ahead and tell everyone what you got going on, what's coming up for you, where can
Yes.
we find you, and
Oh man, well,
all
first
that
and
good stuff.
foremost, I want to say thank you so much for having me on, taking the time out of your guys' busy schedule, and someone leaving in and out of the
Man,
call.
man,
I'm kidding.
nothing.
Anyway,
Oh,
I'm kidding.
shots fired! Shots fired!
I'm kidding. I'm
Shots
kidding.
fired!
But no, you can find me at it's Mike Wexler on Instagram and Twitter. My whole main goal of social media is to spread positivity and spread kindness, and not only that, but to just support. That's the main thing. If you guys follow
Beautiful.
me on
It's
there,
that
you'll
smile,
notice
dude.
you'll if you follow
Hell
me
yeah.
on there, you guys will notice that it's mostly like independent wrestling shows and wrestlers and people that I know that I showcase on my stories. So it's like not necessarily me. So I'm just that I just love spreading that love for everybody. So make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe to the
I was
Yours
gonna say
Sports
you seem
podcast.
very selfless.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
make sure to subscribe too. And yeah, I'm horrible at this YouTube thing. So you guys got it. You guys got it.
Yes, sir. No, that's good, man. Honestly, I've been very, very, very happy to have you. For this, like I say, this call, or in my sense, calls, because it's my second one because I had to whatever happened. But whatever, things happen, right? But Mike, thank you so much. I'd love to keep in contact with you, and we'll
Yeah.
obviously chat a lot more after we stop the recording. But Gabriel, do you have any more questions for our lovely guest? With the lovely smile. That smile is contagious, by the way.
I
It's
was
a
gonna
very
say,
good smile.
Mike, you're hilarious, dude. You're a fucking sweetheart. Pleasure having
Good
you,
man.
dude.
Good man.
Wish you the best moving forward. You're welcome back anytime you want.
Yes.
Anytime. But yeah, guys. Man, don't worry about it, man. I had a great time. But honestly, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on. And on that note, guys, I'm gonna start to go on the outro. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Professional Heels Podcast. You have me, Bernard Corbino, also known as the Black John Cena. You have my man Gavin Gabriel, also known as the Sexy Goldberg. And you have our lovely, amazing, beautiful guest with a contagious smile, Mike Wexler. Thank you so much. And on that note, we all bid you adieu.